Take me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls. Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a nostalgic time capsule and no spoiler book club of the original Gravity Falls fandom. We are your curators. I'm Ella.
And I'm Charlie!
And they're Charlie. And we have with us once again our lovely docents from Come On Fahookwa Pods, another Pipe Dream podcast. We have David Spencer and Alexa Cuison.
Oh, thank you. I love hearing my last name pronounced correctly.
It's a nice name. It rolls off the tongue.
It was only November 2020, a little over a year ago, that I first met you, David and Alexa. I would not have started this podcast had I not met you. We are now on episode 37, and that is wild to think about.
We've come a long, long way since recording an episode about mostly Neil Cicerega, a little bit about Gravity Falls adjacent things.
I've had a lot of fun on this podcast.
Me too!
It's almost sad that we don't have much left.
Well, you know what? It's about the journey. And I think we've had a nice journey.
So Alex originally pitched Gravity Falls as a 3-season show, with season 1 dealing with June, season 2 dealing with July, and season 3 dealing with August.
And then this really funny thing happened because he made season 1 and almost died.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he barely slept during season 1. There were legitimate health concerns.
Oh.
And he wasn't even sure if he wanted to do a season 2.
And another interesting factor is I don't think the twists he was building up to were as complicated as he thought they were. Some of the things, a lot of the fans had already guessed a lot of the trajectory, mostly Alexa, but some of the other fans. So yeah, they instead pasted out that there was a short hiatus after season 2A being July.
I mean, you say that like there's not a short hiatus after every episode at this point.
Yeah, I know. But this was the one planned hiatus.
A little intentional, yeah.
Yeah. So we are about to watch the mid-season finale, which I think is in its own right the July finale. It's written like a season finale, not like a...
It's definitely odd to hear this when, as somebody who doesn't know a whole lot about like the animation production and things like that, and I know Ella, you're probably a lot more versed in this.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been a lot of talk that it's been happening about places like Netflix splitting a season into 2.
The splitting of seasons, being arbitrary and at the detriment of the workers' wages.
Yeah.
This is
different.
Not really one of those cases because season 2A and 2B are not something that Disney is officially talking about. And I don't think mid-season finale isn't really a thing that happens in animation, and I don't really know I don't know how to distinguish that from what feels like a season finale in terms of how it feels, but I guess we'll find out. The mid-season finale business is really the ghost of the planned 3 seasons rather than a corporate finagling, which is what is happening at places like Netflix, which is messed up.
This is not a production season finale, but it is a thematic season finale. So another reason I'm very excited to have the two of you on is, you know who does do mid-season finales amazingly? Break So Bad.
Oh.
Breaking Bad is a show that I love very much. It is my favorite hour-long drama, but I always feel weird saying that because it's kind of like somebody saying that their like favorite movie is Scarface, because it's like...
Well, you also like BoJack Horseman. I mean...
You love Star Wars more than anyone I know. You love Ocarina of Time more than anyone I know. You love the Beatles more than anyone I know. And you love Breaking Bad. I'm sorry, David, you're just like a little bit basic.
No, I wasn't. My worry was less about being basic and more about being like, oh yeah, Walter
White is so cool. Yeah, but you also love BoJack Horseman, the show, not the character.
Yes.
And Community.
Oh, if I could just say one more thing real quick about the whole Breaking Bad thing that I'm hopeful and looking forward to in this is that it feels like one of the TV dramas, which honestly, I feel like this doesn't happen a lot with TV shows where it has such a distinctive visual style. There are shots that just feel like are from, you can like watch a scene without knowing, even if it doesn't have the characters you're used to, and just know, oh, this is from a Vince Gilligan TV show because the way it's shot, the extreme close-ups from a weird angle of a random object, like
the shovel cam is weird. And of course the object cam is always paired with dubstep.
Yeah.
And,
so that's what I'm hoping is going to happen in this. That we're going to get.
I guess we'll find out. I don't want to, at the risk of saying too much, I think we should just get right into it.
You guys need to just experience all the dubstep in this episode for yourselves.
Not What He Seems is the 11th episode of Season 2 of Gravity Falls, and the 31st episode overall. It premiered on March 9th, 2015 on Disney XD.
And I can tell you guys this, every single Gravity Falls fan knows uncomfortably well where they were on what they were doing on March 9th, 2015.
The episode was directed by Steven Sandoval, written by Shion Takeuchi, Josh Weinstein, Jeff Rowe, Matt Chapman, Alex Hirsch, and Zach Paez. Why do you think there are so many dang writers on this episode?
Yeah, we got the creator of Inside Job. We got the creator of Homestar Runner.
We have showrunner of a few seasons of The Simpsons.
The showrunner of The Simpsons, Disenchantment, and Mission Hill. We have a Community writer on the mix, Zach Paez, and Jeff Rowe, who he co-directed and co-wrote Mitchell's vs. the Machines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it'll probably be a decent episode. What do you think?
Smorgasbord of writers, right?
I mean, without further ado,
let's
buckle
just watch.
up. The joke is that the preview image is Dipper and Mabel with siblings. Thanks.
You know Grunkle Stan.
Not just a great uncle.
The greatest uncle.
But
kids, there's something I shouldn't tell you.
Do you really know Grunkle Stan?
Oh no! Target secure. Take the house. We have secured a pig. What did I do that warrants this much arresting? It's happening! The end times!
And the entire world just hiccuped.
You got the wrong guy.
You don't know your uncle at all.
The Gravity Falls you waited for. Monday, March 9th at 8:30 on Disney XD.
This is like the ending of F for Fake. You know, the documentary F for Fake?
I don't know it.
No, I don't.
No. Okay. It's fine.
Well, anyway, we just watched F for Fake.
Hey, Alexa!
Yeah?
What do you think of this?
Hey, Alexa.
And me.
What do you think of this?
What can anyone say about this? We just watched Not What He Seems.
The author of the journals. My brother.
Oh my god! I'm leaving.
Alexa.
Okay, because it's just like, I had all these things around it, and the answer was simple, a brother. Why didn't I think of brother? I thought of clone. I did say loved one.
We did read you the entire Stan twin theory last time you were
I like that when in Tourist Trap you were thinking about Stan having a long-lost, wife or someone like that, and
You were like, Stan is bitter because he lost a loved one was your first reaction to this show.
Oh my goodness.
I'm charmed that, because you look at it through that lens, and also you were thinking about Up because he looks like Carl, and you were thinking about romance, and you're thinking about romantic relationships, and I love that you look at things through that lens. I mean, just look at Strong Bad. I think that says a lot about how you, view media.
Brian! Oh, Brian!
And I like that. And I didn't want to say too much about it because I liked that you had you were in the right direction, but you had your own spin on it.
And we were not in the right direction.
Yeah, I basically, again, as we said at the top, everyone remembers where they were when they saw this happen.
Yes.
I was on the couch of my living room. My mom was watching with me. And then I think I probably stood up at a certain point. I don't think I was sitting when it happened. Or maybe I was sitting inches away from the TV like a toddler. And then it fell on me and I died.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you were there.
That's why you remember this so well.
I know. So I basically said something to the effect of, I guess I was telling my mother about the theory or something. Everyone was thinking, this is it. Here it is, confirmed. And I was like, you know what? if that happens, I'll eat my hat. And then it happened, and my mom's like, so I guess you'll be eating your hat now. I was like, yeah.
Here's some sauce with that hat.
Yeah. It was, you know what? It was pretty good. It's not the best hat that I've tasted. It was all right.
Thready.
Yeah.
I remember at the time I was trying to remain friends with an ex-girlfriend, and it wasn't really working out. But we were at my friend Ray's house watching this episode as it premiered. I remember we ordered a pizza, as we did with every new Gravity Falls episode.
Good.
And afterwards, I was living in the same town as Ray at this point, so I walked home, and Mom saw me just sitting on my porch, staring out in the night.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
And what she said to me was, it's okay, you know, if it's not working out, you know, you two don't have it. And I'm like, yeah, that episode was just a lot. And she said, oh, all right.
Yeah, no, I'm not broken up about the relationship stuff. It's just, that episode.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
And I feel Alexis feeling something similar, and her being put right on the spot and being like, form your thoughts on this, please. I get it. Take your time.
It's definitely a thing where you just have to stare into space for a few hours after watching this.
It's funny because when something like that happens, I have to walk away. And then I realized I was attached to my headphones, and I was like, I have to stop myself.
Yeah, you were doing a podcast? Yeah.
Yeah. Gravity was falling for me, so there you go.
Gravity was falling around you.
The six-fingered man definitely... I don't know what my theory was with the six-fingered man.
For the sake of making sure we get this right, let's just play back some clips of Alexa predicting.
Grunkle Stan, okay, I feel like he's had such a very painful past. I feel like there was a loved one that he fell in love with, kind of like Charley and Ella situation. That's why he's so grumpy all the time. And that's why he kept his little mystery shack, because it's where he and his significant other owned it, and they traveled around the world and found all these weird dead mermaids and put them in glass cases.
All right.
So romantic.
Very.
And, you know, maybe that person is not in the picture anymore. And therefore, Grunkle Stan is just kind of being all like, I'm grumpy, but I still got a heart. I thought that the journal was written by Grunkle Stan.
Okay.
I thought that was like, yeah, I thought that Grunkle Stan and his significant other wrote it together.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and they were like, these are all our adventures. And then the person that is no longer in the picture disappeared.
Right.
Because to protect the book. What if the six-fingered person is the significant other of Grunkle Stan? Oh my goodness. See, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, yes, yeah, because I think I was trying to say that, like, usually it's being played as an antagonistic trait to have six fingers because of, like, Princess Bride.
And Monk.
But I had a feeling that it wasn't that. It was more of a loved one.
David, what did you think of this episode?
We were swimming in very dangerous waters, listening through this podcast and going through the show as slowly as we were going through it for the first time, because while we were taking our time with it, it seems like the algorithm picked up on some of my habits and of, you know, things that I had on Google or Twitter profiles or however it works.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
I actually had something just show up on my YouTube feed that had a picture of two stands together, and I was like, oh, well, that's great. That's super cool.
That's the difficult part about doing this podcast the way we have. We've tried to curate our Discord so that can't happen, but we have no control over the rest of the internet.
Yep. Right. So, lesson learned, use a VPN so that way TV shows don't get spoiled for you.
Just don't go on the internet in general.
Or just don't go on the internet.
Just don't internet is what... Yeah, this is from two computer teachers telling you this, yes.
Yeah.
So, you say that there are a lot of fandoms that line up perfectly. We just had a discussion of that. There were very few people who watched Gravity Falls that did not watch Steven Universe at this time in 2015.
Okay.
There was a popular fan theory that Garnet, one of the lead characters in Steven Universe, was actually a fusion of two different characters that has just stayed fused the whole show.
Okay.
That was confirmed, what was it, 3 days after this episode?
So I believe this premiered on a Tuesday, and that same week was a programming style referred to as a Steven Bomb, where there is a new episode of Steven Universe every weeknight for an entire week.
Steven Universe is back!
Did you see what I did? It was magic!
And ready for action!
I can't say no to that face.
Steven Universe, all new, all week. Starts Monday at 5/4 Central on Cartoon Network.
And that was the end of season 1.
Yeah, the season 1 finale it was building up to.
Yeah, Jailbreak was the episode.
Steven! Thank you. Garnet, you're a fusion?
And that was confirmed like 3 days after this very popular fan theory was confirmed.
Yeah, so people who believed in both the Garnet fusion theory and the Stan twin theory got very, very used to staring out into space.
I feel like they were probably just rolling in their glee.
They were like, I told you guys.
Yeah, they got very annoying very fast.
I apologize because I feel like I'd be one of those people.
You have the right to be annoying, yes. Alexa.
It's your experience in the Smallville fandom that made us think that you were the person to be the audience avatar for this podcast.
Absolutely.
So I think in both of those cases, but more so with Gravity Falls, yeah, we've established our mutual distaste for the Stan twin theory, but I don't...
Oops!
It's not that I was, I had no counter to it. I just felt like I did not want to know. I wanted to be along for the ride and be, floored at whatever happened, because, like we've said in Gideon Rises, literally anything can be behind that portal. What is he doing? I just I want to feel it out as we go, and I don't want to feel like I have, beaten the chess master here.
But yeah, the first episode of the show reveals that there's potentially something secret behind the vending machine. This is 30 episodes later. I agree that they could not have made this last a season.
Yeah, it's also so funny because you had mentioned my experience with the Smallville fandom, and it is because of the Smallville fandom that I assumed that it was about a romantic relationship as opposed to other things that a show is about. Oh, yeah. Gosh.
Because it's always about a romantic relationship on Smallville.
And the truth is, I'm glad I'm taking that experience with me because nothing prepared me for that. And I was more mad at myself that was the thing that I did not guess.
What about the fact that, of course, it's a twin because thematics...
It's a twin. It's a brother twin. Like, it was someone related to him. And it was just like...
The show's about siblings. And, yeah.
Yeah, and I should have known because there's twins.
Yeah, and then... but it's. I think it was a little more special having that theory be so popular because it was like, as much as I wanted to just be along for the ride,
yeah,
there was a sense of it was surreal. It felt like fan fiction was airing on the screen because so many people had thought. I was like, is this real? Like, there was a moment there where I kind of left my body. I was like, hold on. Wait. Like,
also, that's one of the few moments of local animation in the show.
Yeah, that's right.
That sequence was animated by Dana Terrace instead of sent overseas because they really were just like, this needs to be done exactly, and revisions take so long.
Yeah, exactly to our specifications. Let's just do it in-house. So the shot of the author taking off the goggles, revealing his face, was animated by Dana Terrace,
creator of the Owl House.
Yep.
Having a fan fiction moment play out can be really, really, really good or really, really bad. Like, really bad for me was like Rise of Skywalker level, and Smallville level, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the author is Palpatine.
Yeah, the author is Palpatine.
Somehow the author has returned.
Somehow Palpatine's the author. Yeah.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
The author is Palpatine's granddaughter. You had to play Fortnite to find out how.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, because without any prior knowledge of anything, and I've heard about the twin theory. However, again, when I trusted both of you when you said, that's nothing.
We did not say it was nothing. We said we thought it was nothing.
Alexa,
yes.
Pirate. You can always trust a dishonest man to be dishonest.
I don't know if my joke will make it in the episode, but
please, it will.
What Charley and Ella were doing was to spoil a movie from the 70s by Orson Welles that if whoever's listening to this hasn't seen, I doubt they will. Orson Welles did a documentary called F for Fake that is one of those classic film school movies. You got to watch it, and the entire beginning of the movie, it's like the movie is about an art faker. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Oh, a forger.
Forgery, yes.
Yeah.
And the beginning of the movie in like all of the intro, Orson Welles keeps saying, for the next 60 minutes, everything we tell you is going to be absolutely true. For the next hour, everything you see on screen, no matter how crazy, is 100% accurate.
By way of introduction, this is a film about trickery. During the next hour, everything you'll hear from us is really true and based on solid facts.
But of course, the movie is an hour and 15 minutes. So at the very end, it gets a little crazy, and then that's the whole thing of like, he didn't lie to you. He told you the truth.
Yeah. Well, thank you for, yes, you know what? Ella and I are kind of the Orson Welles of this podcast.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, you know what, guys? Oh, crap. There's, I don't know how to tell you this, but what I'm seeing right now is what looks like an alien pod landing outside right now. This is real. We are under attack
I'm in
by
New Jersey.
aliens.
I should throw a riot or something.
Yeah, you should. Everyone should panic right now.
It was all the rage.
Because there is it looks like some sort of tripod alien machine, and they are vaporizing people. Oh my god, it's horrible.
So another reason I wanted you guys on for this episode is Alex Hirsch admits he studied the structure of how Breaking Bad does season finales to kind of come up with how to focus this episode, and that is the inspiration for the color grading. There is a clear color-based difference from, sunrise to magic hour to...
Yeah, because there's a literal ticking clock throughout the episode, and that is shown.
Yeah, so it gets gradually more orange the further they get into sunset.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that there was some inspiration from Breaking Bad in this, my brain translated that as, oh, this is going to be like Community aping a, other movie or something, and that's what this is going to be. But I realize that it's not that it's like trying to be a style pastiche of Vince Gilligan. It's a
no, it's not a parody or a pastiche.
It's just like trying to study from the same place and kind of learn from the, it's like to bring up The Last Jedi again, which I think we've brought up on every single episode that Alexa and I have been on this podcast.
Please do.
I would be very upset if you stopped.
I remember in like the early press for that movie, there was an article about Rian Johnson talking about a list of 10 movies that he studied and had some of like the principal creatives of the crew study in preparation for The Last Jedi. And none of the movies were like, oh, this movie is being a plot structure to this or is purposefully doing this, except for that one Canto Bite shot is absolutely a redo of a shot from a classic movie, Wings.
Yeah.
But it was like this list of movies was like, oh, you can see how it was learning from, it was not like, how can we ape this style, and more, how can we learn from what this filmmaker did and why they made the decisions they made.
It's like a reading list beforehand. Yeah. It's research. It's like the Wachowskis making everyone read Simulacra and Simulation.
Yeah. It's so what this episode does that sort of resembles Vince Gilligan's writing style is we know how the episode will end, sort of. We don't know how it's going to get there, and there are a lot of obstacles to getting into the promised point C.
And I think one thing that I also really like about it is that the climax is still hinging on a character making a decision.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's something that I feel like a lot of, especially like mystery boxy shows kind of leave out, is they build it all up to the big reveal that they forget to actually have their characters make choices.
You can say Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But also, I do not feel that problem that often in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
I never feel that problem in Breaking Bad, because that's not, like what's engaging about that show isn't what happened in the past, it's what are these characters going to do next. I don't know what they're going to do.
The implications, the impact of what's
Absolutely.
happening.
Yeah.
Yes, because basically Walt is a bad man who is forced to live a life as a good man, and vice versa for Jesse. So there's not 100% guarantee on what they will do, because the expectations on them from society are up completely opposite of their actual morality.
And so I like that even when they are building up to this big reveal, they still take the time to say, it's not just going to be about how the audience is going to respond to this. It's going to be about how Dipper and Mabel respond to this, and how the decisions that they have to make in the face of the ticking clock.
So a lot of the time leading up to the climax is instilling that doubt in Dipper and Mabel that leads to more uncertainty about what they will do in that last scene. And the uncertainty of what characters will do is why we get the line, "Everything I've done, it's for this family." Does that line sound familiar from everyone?
Yeah, I heard you say Skylar, like at the end of that, which was really funny.
And I saw when they were looking through Stan's files and finding all of this shady stuff, Alexa's mouth was hanging open the entire time.
Yeah.
I think I saw a fly go in and out of one.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my friend.
Flew into her mouth and right out her nose.
The lighting throughout this episode, again, it changes with the time, but also with the mood and the emotion. So the inciting incident of the episode, as we saw at the end of the previous episode, the agents' Powers and Trigger are back in full force. They take Grunkle Stan into custody and are whisking Dipper and Mabel away to child services. Mabel gets the idea to break out of the car that they're in by, let's see if I've got this right, getting Manly Dan to attempt vehicular manslaughter over an insult to his favorite band. To be fair, I'd probably do the same thing if someone said that about Weird Al.
That was a revision because the episode ran too long. Originally, they were supposed to use the president's key to escape from the cell.
Yeah, well, they were put in this, like, schoolhouse, this, like, re-education center or something with a lot of old government stuff.
And they're like, hey, this is a movie now. We need to cut a lot.
Yeah,
so they just came up with, get Manly Dan to commit vehicular manslaughter right in the car. Yes. Boom, next scene. And it works. It's a really funny joke.
I love that. It is overrated.
He wrecks the car, Agent Trigger is trapped, and then during that moment has, like, the first, well, not the first in this episode, but the one that always stands out to me, where Dipper is walking away and then Agent Trigger is telling him all these things, like,
"Oh, you poor kids. You really think your uncle's innocent? I've seen it all before. False names, double lives. One minute they're playing with water balloons, the next they're building doomsday devices. Your uncle scammed the whole world. You gonna let him scam you too?"
You don't know what you're talking about.
And apparently the original line was next they're building bombs.
Oh, wow.
And I can see why that was not
taken
used,
out,
but it definitely tells you the stakes of what's going on, of like, yeah, this could be serious. And the whole time, Dipper is under, they're in the forest, so this dappled lighting, like, through the leaves of the trees is over Dipper, and it's this, like, again, the shadows of doubt are starting to be cast, but he's got those little glimmers, because he says, you don't know what you're talking about, but he's hesitating at this point.
I do love that even if there was, like, a very serious tone throughout the episode, the moment of comedy of when it comes to making a really tough decision, Mabel still couldn't find it in herself to say that several times was bad. She was like, they're overrated. Like, that was, like, so funny to me. It's just like, and that was enough. She knew exactly how to anger a fan like that, because absolutely.
She also knows them personally and knows that they go to the bathroom on newspaper.
Yeah. She knows that they're clones. When you've had to change your favorite boy band's newspaper, are you really going to be that much of a fan of them anymore? But they are very good at inserting those little moments of comedy into what's otherwise a really serious episode.
In these really serious episodes, what Alex would do is every stage of the process would be brainstorming if there were any more jokes he could fit in, and sometimes would write them into the script in pen during the recording session because he just does not want it to just feel like, all right, you're just going to cry this week and not
No, but
laugh.
It does feel like in this one they held back a little bit. Like, there were areas where they could have insert jokes and they probably deliberately didn't.
But the jokes are amazing. Kerpranked?
I'm about to make the incision. Kerprank! Ah! You're watching Kerpranked with Justin Kerprank.
Yeah, we have Kerpranked with Justin Kerprank, which is their punked or jackass.
They're Ashton Kutcher.
It would be punked because Justin Kerprank is clearly supposed to be Ashton Kutcher.
I have to say, like, the moment, because again, we were talking about, like, Mabel during a tough decision still chooses to be, like, oh yeah, they're overrated.
Yeah.
And I think what made the last beat even more emotional is that Mabel ran out of ideas of how to
oh yeah, that's a good point, because the whole episode she's always the one that comes up with each plan to get them to the next thing.
The anti-labbit, the grappling hook.
She realizes the code is the vending machine.
She figures out, she crashes the car, she gets the grappling hook.
Mabel originally wants Dipper to
karate chop the other dude in the neck.
She says it really well, really violently. But yeah, no. And then there's the moment where she's crying, and her tears enter the shot first before we see her cry because gravity has inverted, and that's really a beautiful image.
Exactly. And Mabel, which is why I relate to her so much, except when she makes not so great choices. Especially because she leads a lot with her emotions, and usually, and I feel like David knows this about me, is that I'm always trying to fix things. You know,
absolutely.
What happens when what you have to fix is based on your emotions? That's even tougher.
You can't be sure, and Dipper literally tells her, listen to your head, and Mabel doesn't operate that way, and for someone who is always smiling and joking to break down crying like that is...
That was really hard.
Also, Stan swears for real. That's the other joke that they insert into a serious moment.
The reveal that the reason that no one ever swears in Gravity Falls is not because none of these characters swear. Most of them swear. It's just that there's always a 12-year-old in the room
children
in every scene in the show.
I can relate, yeah.
So the literal only reason that there's no swearing in the show is people are intentionally censoring themselves, which is a really funny way to do TVY7.
But I feel like, does that come from Dipper and Mabel requesting that? Like maybe they were just really intent on a swear jar, because they do not want to hear it when it's on the videotape. They're like, nope, we gotta stop this and plug our ears.
That's true. I feel like they're fine with normal amounts of swearing, but Grunkle Stan amounts of swearing, they can't.
That's fair. That's fair.
I do know that Matt Chapman co-wrote this episode, and in camp, when he was in summer camp, he wanted to prove to the other kids that he knew how to swear. So he would go up to them and go, "Shet," like Shetland. Like Shetland sheepdog. And they'd be like, whoa, Chapman swears! So, being afraid of swearing might just be a normal 12-year-old thing, at least to the writers.
You know what I bet happened? What happened was Mabel probably suggested, Grunkle Stan, why don't we set up a swear jar? That way, whenever you swear, you pay some money. No, I just won't swear. I won't swear.
All right, well,
yeah, exactly. I was about to say.
Yeah, she sets up the swear jar day one, and Stan has not sworn since. And it's like, you think I'm giving up $1?
Yeah. This is a battle of wills, Mabel. I'm gonna win.
You don't have a snowball's chance in the underworld of winning this, kid!
The episode has a shortened theme song, again, but I think, unlike last time, in the moment, I didn't mind it, because I wanted to get to the rest of the freaking episode.
You were like, alright, skip intro button. I'm sorry about the things I've said about you
this
in the past.
One time. Your time has come, skip intro button.
Yeah, you're like, so... the most unlikely of allies.
Yes. But also, in this opening, there is a different backwards whisper.
Oh.
Normally, it is Key Visionaire for the end credits code in Season 2, and this time it is... It is not what he seems.
Didn't that happen in the first episode, too?
That was a written code.
It is in the cryptogram during the cipher wheel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apologies if this is getting too far ahead, but I feel like I like that in the title, in that whisper, they are really setting you up as an audience member to also not trust Stan. And
from episode 1, I mean, yeah.
They really are hitting on it on this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
It really makes Mabel's decision harder and makes that seem like, because I was sitting there thinking, press the button, Mabel, press the button, Mabel. And now I'm still not sure if it was good or bad that she didn't press the button. But it certainly seems like the world didn't end.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
In the lead up to this episode, they really rolled out the promo train for this because, you know, the hook of the episode is that, Grunkle Stan's getting arrested. So there was various promos of Grunkle Stan in custody that we can show you. A few of them are just audio only that someone's edited together. And one of them features Puppet Stan, the puppet of Grunkle Stan that I think if you've listened to our Shorts episode, you'll know about him.
Yes.
Mr. Pines.
Yes.
You are being accused of stealing 300 gallons of radioactive barrels from a government waste facility. Did you steal this waste?
Hey, you know what I say about government waste? Everything in the government is a waste.
What's really going on in the basement of the Mystery Shack?
The Mystery Shack does not have a basement. Next question.
A little detail. The Stan Pines dead newspaper article. Well, first off, how did we feel about that moment. I feel like that's a big one.
I'm going to turn on my theories mind for a second. Okay. I'm going to turn on the Alexa real quick.
Okay.
So,
turn on the Alexa.
So Stan Pines, I feel like, okay, so I think that that's still Stan Pines. He just faked his death. That's what I thought. Consider. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking right now, is that Stan actually faked his own death to hide the fact that, so that people wouldn't question him and his brother, basically.
There is something, like, about the whole, the secret family member and the faked death that feels very, like, soap opera telenovela that I really, appreciate.
That's exactly
He went
why.
missing 30 years ago!
Yeah.
I was raised on telenovela, so that's why, like, that is the first thing I thought of, is, like, someone faking their own death.
Yeah.
A secret twin.
A secret twin.
And I love that, I do love that that's what they ended up going with, because it's almost like an homage to that as, like, a trope, except twins are thematically a thing here, so it's, like, grounded, not that it isn't, I don't know how grounded it is in other places.
It doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like they're doing it for the sake of drama. It was leading up to it. It feels intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I'm also thinking that there's more than one brother, because, again, with these multiple names, my first thought was clones. And then when I saw the twin, I was like, oh my goodness, they're quadruplets. Like, it's just like, that's probably what it is.
Stan quadruplet theory starts now.
Yeah, like
Stan twin theory? That's so 2014.
That's so 2014, right. Like, so it's just like, or it could be a Prestige situation. Sorry, spoilers for the movie Prestige. But,
we're not a no spoiler Prestige podcast.
No.
Okay, perfect. So, like, they basically dressed up, as each other, as strangers. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense, especially if you plan your own fake death, like, you would have to have a bunch of disguises.
Alibis.
Yeah, a bunch of alibis. So that makes a lot of sense.
I was thinking about that. Like, it seems like his brother was obviously somewhere else, but there was a thought that I had during the water balloon fight where it's like, oh, Stan feels like more jovial and stuff than normal, and more like willing to just goof around with his kids. And so there was a part of me that was like, oh, are we going to get a brothers that are switching places constantly? Like the Prestige thing happening, where there's, two different Stans sharing the same life.
That's interesting. And, cause he's constantly switching the eye patch.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wasn't that on the other side?
What hump?
I have a mole?
But I just love that you brought that up, because I said the Prestige, and now it's starting to make more sense to me that they're switching places constantly. But then again, Stan doesn't show 6 fingers unless, has Stan been wearing gloves at some point? Or no?
Interesting.
Well, the alternate Stan has 6 fingers. His brother has 6 fingers.
But he can't hide that.
Can't hide that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
so they haven't been switching places because he's in another dimension or something, whatever's on the other side of the portal. I was just saying that, like, I kind of felt like that might be happening, but
I'm also thinking that Stan Pines is the brother.
What do you mean?
That's the real Stan Pines, and that's second weird theory in my head.
Okay, so I would like to read the contents of the Stan Pines Dead newspaper article to you all.
Okay.
Sure.
The flaming wreckage of a wrecked car was found in a ditch 4 miles from Highway 618 at 6 a.m. Monday morning. The cut breaks and odd location of the car suggests that this was no accident. Says a rookie cop.
Mighty suspicious. Mighty suspicious.
In other news, leg warmers are all the rage this week, and we predict this style will go on forever.
Okay.
That moment of terror after they discover the fake IDs in the article always sticks out to me, too. We've talked about this idea a bit with Abby Kirby in our sock opera episode, but the idea that the adults in your life cannot save you from the supernatural is what they do in sock opera, but here it's like, can you even trust them?
Can you even trust them in the slightest?
Yeah.
And I think there is a moment in everyone's life where they realize, oh, adults are just people and they're wrong all the time. How do I tell? But also, my life revolves around them educating me. How do I tell what's correct?
That visual moment where they look up at the painting of Stan and the painting looks back down at them really creepily is really good punctuation on that. Mabel being the key to things.
Yep.
How do
I
we
wrote
feel
that
about
down
that?
too.
Yeah, you called out the key sweater.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I always notice Mabel sweaters, and I'm always hoping that it's part of the plot somehow. The last episode we saw, she wasn't wearing a sweater, so I was like, okay,
right.
So she's not the key in this one.
She was. That's what made her brain all transphobic. She didn't ever swear.
Exactly.
Rotted her brain.
Exactly, and it's so funny because like she wasn't wearing
the sweater's prescription.
Yeah.
The sweater. She wasn't wearing it at the beginning, which made me go, oh, this is the first time I've seen Mabel without a sweater. And I think it's because, I think she just wasn't the key yet. And then, but that comes into play later. So when I saw that she was wearing a key sweater, I was like, Mabel's about to do something. She's going to do something. Like either she's going to open a door, as she did. She opened the vending machine, but I was like, she's going to do more than that. That she is the key to something.
She opened that door as well as the metaphysical door.
Yeah, the door to Stan's heart.
Well, and the portal, I meant.
And the portal as well.
But also to the heart, yes.
To the heart.
Specifically with, so I know you've only watched each episode once, except for the ones that we just watched. But do you remember the episode Boss Mabel, where Mabel takes over the Mystery Shack for a day, or for 3 days, and shows Stan to be, like, nicer to people?
And it begins with him saying please has never helped anyone, and then in the end he loses a lot of money.
That was the word that he needed to win Cash Wheel.
Uncle Stan, whatever happened to please and thank you,
Please never made me any money, kid. In fact, just saying the word has given me a burning sensation.
And then in this episode, what turns Mabel over and makes her decide to fully trust Stan?
Mabel, please!
Uncle Stan, I trust you.
The magic word.
Yeah. And that's kind of how she knew that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's so rough because I do believe that Mabel is someone with exceptionally strong emotional intelligence, That kind of thing is hard to navigate sometimes because sometimes people who are lying know exactly how to get you.
Yeah.
But there was something about everything that Stan and Mabel had gone through where Mabel was like, this is, at a point where we could die, like Stan is choosing to use the word please.
Right. And she recognizes that that's out of character for him.
Exactly. So that was a very, very big risk, and that's something only Mabel can really detect. And that was even hard for me because it was just like, not being able to listen to your brother who has been your most trusted person, and trusting the person you barely know. Like again, that speaks to Mabel's emotional intelligence that she saw something that a lot of people didn't. And it was more than just a please.
It speaks to Dipper a lot too. Like it's the worst thing that you can do to someone with OCD is to be like, yeah, but can you really trust it? Like, you have such a hard time trusting your own brain and your own memories, and for these external sources to start questioning things too is like singing in harmony with the constant cacophony of questions going on in your own brain. And you're like, okay, my paranoia is now being externally validated, and something is seriously wrong. And it's why he doesn't understand why Mabel is just being intuitive, because that's not how he operates.
Yeah, and Dipper as well has just been researching constantly ever since he got to Gravity. Probably even before that. He is just a boy of research, like he just, that's his thing.
It's really well symbolized in the moment where Mabel finds the secret code to the hideout, and Dipper whips out the black light in the journal and is like, what code is this? What code is this? And Mabel's like, oh, it's the vending machine. Yeah. Which works on a character level and also an audience one, because we've been trained to look at all these codes, and we kind of we overthink as fans.
Dipper couldn't see the forest between the pines.
Dipper also looks at evidence, and it's so hard to not Especially when things have led up to something and it ended up being something completely different than he thought. Like, to be able to hear from somebody else going like, yeah, it was the other names, it was a double life, and then seeing the exact evidence going, oh my goodness, this is what it is. Because he had the book.
That's exactly how this kind of obsessive thought works, is like, whether that is in a positive way where you like are seeking validation, like evidence that what you fear is not true, or when you get evidence that what you fear is true. And again, whether or not any of that is actually true, irrelevant to your brain.
And it doesn't help that, like, you know, when he has the journals and it says, when this happens, do this. When this is leading to this, then this is going to happen.
Everything paints a very bad picture for Grunkle Stan. It does not frame him well at all.
So I can't really blame him either. So
this is a stray thought I just remembered, but when it's a clip we had to rewatch 3 times because the player kept messing up, but when he runs in and screams, "Don't touch that button," and he's panting so hard, I'm like, is Stan gonna like pass out or have a heart attack or something? Like, I really thought when I first watched it that it's so much more like physical acting that Alex put into Stan in that line.
We're looking at a screenshot and I see scams A to Z.
Yeah,
that's there.
So this is when they're looking around Stan's office and there's a bunch of books on the shelf for one frame.
So yeah,
all the binders are facing the wrong way though.
You're right. That's for the audience's benefit. But let's.
They're full of women.
This is the Breaking Bad shot that I was talking about earlier.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's read them in order from one direction to another.
The nuances of fraud.
The business of business.
Scams A to Z.
How to Ruin Jokes by Stephen and Pete. Are Stephen and Pete a reference to someone? Is that...
I don't know, but probably.
Oh, you know who it is?
Who?
It's Standards and Practices.
It's
S&P.
It's S&P. You are absolutely right. I did not get this joke until this moment.
I feel like
Thank you.
I saw that. I was like, I feel like this has got to be a joke on somebody.
Yeah.
S and P.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's so funny.
And then we have Glass Shard Beach. Oh, Glass Shard Beach High yearbook.
The last book is Daddy Issues. I don't know if it's a story called Daddy Issues or if it's a psychology book. Maybe both.
It's just Stan's journal.
I've called you Daddy Issues. Oh, no. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's a compilation of... He likes Fully Clothed Women magazine, but occasionally they'll do the daddy issue.
Yes! Yes, so he's collected all of the daddy issues.
Yeah.
Every time we see Stan with his brother, we saw it in the post-credits, they were on a swing set on a beach, but that swing set was seen before. In Dreamscapers, it was outside of the shack, and one of the swings was swinging and one of them wasn't.
We also saw a glimpse of the beach in Blendon's game when he was fiddling with his color match suit.
Yeah, when his camouflage wasn't working. We saw.
Oh, you know what? All this talk of Easter eggs really makes me want to do.
This is we're getting a little risky.
So why don't we head behind the vending machine?
Yes. For the first time, by the way, there's been a vending machine, and it's hilarious.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I thought it was broken. I keep trying to get a Twix.
Oh, yeah.
It's not for Twix, it's for twists.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, right this way to the Hall of Conspiracy.
Welcome to the Hall of Conspiracies. This one's gonna be a bit of a doozy.
This whole episode's been we've been doozying for quite a while now.
But first, I would like our docent Alexa to guide us. What did Blubs and Durland have at the police station?
Gonna getcha.
You are talking about the piñata.
Which I did not even know was there. I didn't even remember it was there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I am so glad that they have terrible aim because I have a feeling. I just love that it's hiding in the evidence closet. Yep. I assume that's what it was. Because there's it's gonna go off in the police station. That's what's gonna happen. I can only predict
your theory from Tourist Trap that there's something with a piñata.
I love the way Seuss exits a room very mysteriously. I love that he's always prepared for a piñata. I have a feeling that piñata means something.
And this is in case you see a piñata.
I think that piñata is going to come back. Thank you for bringing that up. And we get to llama, which could also be a piñata.
Yes, there we go.
Oh, good catch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing it all together.
Oh my goodness, I love this. I love reading symbols and guessing what they are, because this piñata, Seuss has something going on. Seuss is just not the handyman. All right. Seuss is really saying, like, watch out for that piñata, because that piñata holds the secret to Gravity Falls. The piñata, usually when people have a piñata, it's a birthday party or a celebration. There's candy inside, sometimes money, depending on how bougie you are. I would like to think that there could be some kind of treasure hidden in the piñata. Grunkle Stan could be hiding the map to this particular piñata. Something with a piñata. And you know what? It showed up to mock me. Because it knows that I'm looking at everything right now. And when the piñata came out, like, you'll probably see it in my face. Maybe there's a screenshot of my face.
We will show that.
Oh, we're gonna look at the Twitter at Mystery Shack Pod.
I'll link it in the description also for
we're gonna post a bunch of pictures of Alexa's wonderful reactions to this.
Yeah, there was like 3 things that I wrote down. Number 1 was key sweater, so I had already checked that off.
Key sweater.
Next up was piñata, and then the third one was rock.
The rock that looks like a face rock.
Yeah. And it says maybe it's a metaphor.
We finally find out which it is, a rock or a face. It's neither. It's a metaphor.
Well, that was his interpretation.
A metaphor for what?
A hard place.
Speaking of season 1 and noticing everything, in an interview with the AV Club,
which we will link in the description,
Alex Hirsch said, believe it or not, Stan having a secret brother was the plan from the very beginning. And if you start to go down the Reddit rabbit hole, I think your mind may be a little blown by just how many clues and hints we planted pointing to this conclusion, even going back to the very first episode. From blatant things like Stan's license plate having the wrong name, seen in season 1, episode 2, The Legend of the Gobblewonker, to metaphorical clues. Metaphor, there you go. Like the broken 2-kid swing set in Stan's mind, seen in season 1, episode 19, Dreamscapers. Even the title of this episode is a reference to the code Stan is not what he seems, hidden in the theme song seen in our very first episode. Ever wondered why Stan was so distraught at his wax doppelganger's death in Headhunters? The internet sure did, and they've been very busy putting it all together ever since.
And that was the motivation for them to do that episode that you were talking about earlier, Alexa, with McGucket, because people guessed it very early on.
People on the internet figured it out, and they did not have a red herring to throw them off the trail, so they had to come up with one.
Mm-hmm.
So they faked a leak of McGucket writing in the journal, and then did that whole episode, Society of the Blind Eye, specifically to keep this theory from becoming any more mainstream than it did.
Mm-hmm.
I love that was their decision, as opposed to oh man, I don't remember what show it was, but there was some show recently that
Lost.
They were like, no, I want to say it was for season 2 of Westworld or something, where they were like, oh yeah, people were predicting the ending, so we had to change it.
Yeah, no, they didn't let like the internet rule them. They just kind of played with them a little.
Yeah, which is the way it should be done.
Right. Do you recall the episode The Time Traveler's Pig, the first episode with Blendon Blandon?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a moment where they are traveling, they're traveling all around time, and they run past what looks like the Mystery Shack, but it's covered in snow, and it doesn't look like a gift shop museum. And then this fella pops out of that version of the Mystery Shack.
And that fella, well, his chin is a little too big. The style of glasses aren't right. That might not be Stan, some people thought at the time. We see that chin in those glasses again.
You on the author of the journal.
His brother.
The author of the journals was there since episode 9 of season 1. We saw his face.
We just straight up saw him.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think we were talking about the glasses and the no glasses situation.
Yep. Also in that AV Club article, the interviewer asked, how can Stan rebuild the trust Mabel and Dipper had in him? Or is that bridge burned? Which is something we were talking about a little earlier. And Alex responds, Mabel's a character who's trusting and forgiving by nature. And I think as long as she believes someone's heart is in the right place, she will give them a second, third, and fourth chance. Dipper isn't nearly as trusting. So I think that when someone finally earns his trust, it is much more heartbreaking to have it violated.
Yeah.
Remember, the kids knew Stan as a liar before they knew him as someone who truly cared about them. So I think for a character like Dipper, he's more mad at himself that he let himself trust an obvious con man like Stan in the first place. It's a huge blow to his ego, a huge betrayal, and I think it will leave him feeling isolated from his family in a way he hasn't been before. Where these feelings take Dipper will be explored in the upcoming episodes. And that sentiment guided a lot of fans through this theory that is collectively referred to as Dark Dipper, but kind of has a few nuances to it.
Naruman1 posted to the subreddit, I went back to look for some new theories, and at the last second after the countdown ended, when everyone got zapped by the portal, I noticed something. Dipper's eyes became Bill-like?
When the portal activates and everyone gets all blurry, Dipper's face is particularly stretched out, and so his pupils look a lot like slits when Bill was possessing him.
Yeah. Ooh.
And immediately after that, it's shown that the picture that Grunkle Stan holds so dearly is shattered, probably foreshadowing Mabel and Dipper having a rough relationship because she didn't press the button.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory emerged that however involved Bill was, that Dipper was going to embrace a dark side. People thought maybe because of the deal in sock opera, he was still under Bill's influence in some way, perhaps. And Starfleet Rambo on Tumblr, fantastic name, I'm only saying that out loud now, posted, so there's this Dark Dipper theory going around the fandom now, with good reason given his morally gray character. I've been noticing a certain pattern for Dip Dop. We all know he likes being taken seriously, which has been a constant issue for him since the very start, true, to prove that he was right all along. And that gets hella way more obvious in the Dipper and Mabel's Guide book thing, where he speaks about being part of a higher calling and gathering followers for a society he's planning on founding, hence the creepy diploma contract. He wants people to hold him in high regard, to worship him in some way, so I'm probably just going crazy, and I'll probably regret saying this in the future when this totally gets blown out of the water, but the tapestry from the end of Northwest Mansion Mystery looks an awful lot like people worshipping a burning pine tree. Just saying, man. So that code that they're referring to in Dipper and Mabel's Guide, you can go back to our episode on that to listen to us read it in full. Basically, Dipper goes on this little tangent about how, you know, you and I, we are different, and people will learn to respect us, that they should have been nicer to us. And that feeling of isolation from his family can certainly foster a lot of those feelings.
I gotta say, never a fan of theories that are like evil version of this, because just because I don't find it's interesting that much when characters are good or evil, like a switch being flipped, but I definitely do like the idea though that there is some darkness in Dipper that he will need to deal with.
Yeah, and it's like, again, with the picture shattering, it would be a divergence of Dipper from Mabel. Mabel made, you know, this decision based in her heart, based in her love for Grunkle Stan, and Dipper was ready to drop all of it because of the evidence that he felt he had collected. So, totem poles. There's a very interesting theory. It wasn't that popular because I didn't really know about it until I was doing this research. Fascinating theory about totem poles here.
Totem poles are monuments created by First Nations of the Pacific Northwest to represent and commemorate ancestry, histories, people, or events.
So, Anria Wings on Tumblr posted, I just realized something about the totem pole. So for those who aren't aware, there seems to be quite the symbolism behind the totem pole outside of the shack. They're quoting some other images here about the totem pole. Outside the Mystery Shack is a clan, sometimes known as an entryway or frontal totem pole. The most decorative variety of pole, its purpose is heraldic, similar to that of a coat of arms. Placed commonly outside the houses of great leaders, this variety of totem pole was most commonly used in the Pacific Northwest to honor ancestors, broadcast family accomplishments, or to detail an event. The pole being 2 creatures high is representative in this case of 2 specific family members. Depicted on the top of the pole outside the Mystery Shack is Colas, the younger brother of the Great Thunderbird. There are several relatively subtle features that distinguish him from his brother. But even though the show has altered the style of the pole very slightly to fit into Gravity Falls, these attributes have been perfectly preserved in every shot that includes the totem pole. In legend, Colas is described as being gifted with great physical strength and is notorious for impersonating his older brother. In real life, the most famous totem depicting the legendary bird Colus stands in Stanley Park, Vancouver.
Stanley Park?
Mm-hmm.
On the base of the totem pole is the beaver. In legend, the beaver is determined and strong-willed. The beaver is said to represent a very wide range of characteristics in a person, but most commonly in myth, the beaver represents artistic talent, creativity, and resourcefulness. Most often, the creature is said to be the builder or overseer. In the Time Traveler's Pig, we see the shack before it was emblazoned with the Mystery Shack signs, and in the place of the totem pole, we see a similarly shaped antenna with a red light glowing on top. In Gideon Rises, we discover the totem pole is a periscope-style device and can be used from the basement lab level under the shack to monitor ground-level activities. Specifically, the viewing lens faces the road leading up to the shack, but it can be swiveled around to face other directions. That was all written by someone named Elliot. I don't know if this is the same person who has the Tumblr or if they pasted that picture in there.
The totem pole is not capped by a Thunderbird, but in fact by a depiction of Colus, the Thunderbird's visually similar younger brother. Described by Pacific Northwestern legend as block-headed, Colus is gifted with incredible strength, often pretends he is the Thunderbird, and always acts like he has something to prove. Sound like anyone we know? Visually similar younger brother, often pretends he is the Thunderbird. It's been hiding in front of us this whole time.
That was from 4chan, so a lot of people catching on to this. And Anria Wings says, typically it's the Thunderbird that crests totem poles, known for his omnipotence and wrath, separating the line between the heavens and the earth. So usually the Thunderbird is on the top. So Colus is impersonating his brother. Everyone's saying the shack's totem pole has only two characters, Colus and the beaver. The great Thunderbird is nowhere to be found. Then I realized the totem pole doesn't only rest above the ground. There's more beneath it. There's actually 3 characters on the pole. We see a picture of the, they paste an image of Stan walking around in the basement lab, and yeah, the Thunderbird is in the basement.
The Thunderbird that is supposed to top the totem pole is hidden in the basement, and its brother is impersonating it. This is just facts from understanding of totem poles.
Person who is being impersonated has been in the secret basement, while on the surface, his brother's been impersonating him.
Is that in line with what I said earlier?
Yeah, is this Alexa being right again?
It is, yes.
Sounds
Well,
like it.
according to this theorist, it's Alexa being right.
Oh my goodness.
Additionally, the end card of the previous episode, Northwest Mansion Mystery, in which the code was Stan is not what he seems 3 times, there is a drawing of Colus.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Swirl writes, so if Stan is really their great uncle, that means his brother is Mabel and Dipper's grandfather. Think about the implications of that for a second. Also, when they go down the elevator, they go right past the 2nd floor and down to the 3rd, but we can see a mysterious door on the way to the elevator. Who knows what's in there? And what they meant by that, if there is only one sibling, that would mean that that sibling would be their grandparent.
Right.
Were that the case, that he is not Stanford but Stanley, that would mean that he is not their great uncle,
but their grandfather.
Which led to a theory called G for G.
Grunkle for Grandpa. Wildly popular fan theory.
Oh, it's huge.
That Grunkle Stan is in fact Stanley because of his license plate on his car, saying Stanley Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
That he is Dipper and Mabel's grandfather, having switched places, their true great uncle, the author of the journals, Stanford Pine.
That combines with, in Little Gift Shop of Horrors, he, after describing accidentally conceiving a child, does a deep sigh.
Yep.
So they point out that Stan's girlfriend, Carla Hotpants McCorkle, has a few noticeable features that are highlighted.
Yeah, I don't know if the Carla of it all is universal to the G for G theorists, but a lot of them also posit that Carla McCorkle just might be Grandma Pine.
She does wear sweaters.
Yeah, the curly hair.
Curls at the bottom of her hair, yeah.
Okay.
So that was basically a rundown of how that impacted the fandom, but, Alexa and David, you're the newest additions to the fandom, so what are your theories and thoughts?
What we're really trying to say is, hey Alexa, can you please elaborate onto your theories? Wait, I said that wrong.
Close enough.
So, Alexa, what did you think about clones and also the personality of this author? You said you had something.
All right, so this is what I'm predicting, because this is what I do on your show, is like the predictions, right?
All right.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that I forget if the twin is Stanley or Stanford. Probably Stanford.
We do not know.
Not confirmed.
There being a Stanley is purely hypothetical based on the license plate.
Not confirmed yet. Okay, so I do feel, because with all of those, all the talk about the totem poles. So the totem pole situation really made me go, okay, so I talked about how Grunkle Stan currently is impersonating his brother, right? Because that's why they had to fake the death, right? So that's one thing. It seems to me that they're leading up for twin brother to be this dark version of Stan, which is funny because he's already a dark character, but a serious version of him, right? But I have a feeling that he's going to be the complete opposite, and Dipper is just going to have this, I hate you, I don't like you at all, I don't trust you. And he's like, why? I give Mabel popsicles all the time, and Mabel's going to love him, thinks that he's the best person in the world, and Dipper's just gonna be like, no, I don't trust you. But turns out he's just a really genuine, nice dude, who went through a lot and went into space. That's what I envision twin brother gonna be.
Sorry, I've been going through a lot lately. I went into space. You know how it is.
Yeah, but I've got the best popsicle flavor for you, Mabel. It doesn't melt.
It's out of this world.
There's a slight hint to the personality of Stan's brother in this episode. So he's reading from Journal 1, and he says, extreme usage could result in minor gravity anomalies. Can it, Poindexter? So apparently Stan calls his brother, or his brother's writing, Poindexter.
Or his brother's journal. Just the
something.
book.
This
book is a nerd.
It seems he is calling his brother a nerd in this moment.
Yeah, and I still feel like that can still play into the charming jock, right? Like the whole, I'm a bully, but, people like me,
Isn't
that you're all right, kid. You're all right.
Isn't that kind of the current Stan's personality?
Kind of. I feel like there's going to be a lot more charm.
Okay.
With the twin brother, I would say it's a very subtle difference. So it's like Grunkle Stan is like, I'm a sleazy boss, and then the twin brother is like, I'm a cool boss. That was his whole thing. That's what I'm seeing, because he's got the suaveness happening.
Yeah.
I forget. Did we hear the brother speak in this?
No, we did not.
Okay.
Well, I would like to tell you a fan theory that Ella and I had in regards to that.
Oh, okay.
Alex had shot a Vine with Weird Al around this time. and
I think also on his website, on Weird Al's website, it said he was going to be in Gravity Falls.
So we, personally, and a lot of the other fandom, I remember I saw it from someone initially.
Yeah, and it's not wishful thinking, it's logic. Think about it.
Stanley, Stanford, Alex, Alfred.
Yes. But I was also thinking, this is the guy who wrote the journals. He studied weirdness. He is all about weirdness. What would be better than him being voiced by Weird Al Yankovic? That's where our head was at.
So we do not know who is voicing this character at this point in the series.
But we firmly believe that it is Weird Al Yankovic. And you know what? I'm going to elevate that. We are certain. We know it's Weird Al Yankovic.
We were certain
We're
it was Weird Al.
You know what? Yeah, let's not lie to them anymore. It's Weird Al. Weird Al voices
so the Weird Al voices the brother.
Yeah. What I was going to say is that I hope whoever voices him, his voice is just absolutely smooth and none of the Stan has got all that gravelly raspiness to him, and I want Stan's brother to be coming in with Billy D. Williams, just I
also have another theory, if it's okay for me to go to a second theory. The pinata. Okay.
The
pinata.
Everything goes back to the pinata.
The pinata is definitely alive. I don't think that's a real theory. I feel like that's kind of obvious. The pinata is alive.
Why else would it be represented by a llama on the
wheel
if it wasn't?
Yeah. Right, exactly. It could be either someone's essence is in that pinata, okay? Because why would it be so significant to the Northwesters, right? Is that what they're called? The Northwest?
The Northwests, yeah.
The Oregonians.
Yeah. The Richies, right?
The Gravity Fallers.
The Gravity Fallers. Why would that be so significant unless somebody's ancestor is within that llama? And of course, when you're dealing with a spirit, it's going to be unstable.
So you're saying it is the original, fraud town founder, Nathaniel Northwest.
Possibly.
Perhaps. A llama? He's supposed to be dead.
I have a feeling the bat isn't what you think it's going to be. It's either supposed to activate the llama, which is a weird thing to say with a spirit, like activating the spirit.
Well, it's a weird phrase, activate the llama.
Because that's more like sci-fi territory, but I feel like that awakens the spirit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard it, that actually, that if you're just using the Ouija board right out the box, it's not going to work. You have to hit it with a baseball bat a few times.
Yeah, exactly. That's how
Grunkle Stan does it.
So that's what I think it is. Yeah, because that's why we see the cops constantly missing it, because it's not its time yet,
because
right?
it's aware. Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least in the show's time frame, it's not time yet.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something with that piñata that is alive within it. I just don't know who it is yet.
All right.
Part of me thinks it might be a woman, or it might be, or it might be Nathaniel. Who knows? I can't tell.
I do like that your theory is, your predictions posit that there will be more women in this show, which is kind of something that it's lacking.
Yeah. I was like, we need them. Like, well, what's going on here?
What are you talking about, Ella? There's Mabel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's one.
Wendy,
sorta.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Candy and Grenda, incredibly infrequently. And Lazy Susan, almost never.
Oops. Okay, so clones. You didn't fully flesh out your clone thing. I'm very curious.
Okay, yeah. I have a feeling that there is probably more than one brother. And they are probably traveling in different universes. First of all, there are 3 journals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, they said, the creator of the journal. But then the 6-fingered, who said Poindexter? Was it Grunkle Stan?
Grunkle Stan called him Poindexter.
Grunkle Stan called him Poindexter. So yeah, okay.
So that's what we'll call him for now.
Right. So Poindexter and Mandark is going to be the third twin.
Yeah.
So Poindexter definitely put his hand on the first journal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Grunkle Stan. Do all of them have 6 fingers on it?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That still doesn't mean anything to me. I still think 3 people can activate that, because there are 3 journals. So I think Grunkle Stan can at least activate one of them, and then the third brother, whoever he is, Mandark,
Stanbus, good old Stanbus,
can probably unlock this. And
Stanley, Stanford, and Stanbus.
We have Brendan Blandon, who talks about time travel constantly, and we have Poindexter, who has traveled, and we see all of the different disguises. I assume that if you go to a different universe, you have to be a certain look, right? Or a certain way. So I would like to think that these are different people.
And they picked out excellent names. Andrew 8-Ball Alcatraz is perfect.
There being 3 keys, actually does, which Ella pointed out, does bring up an incredibly popular fan theory as well, called Mystery Trio, which was the idea that Stanford, as they called, they call Grunkle Stan Stanford, because that's what he's been called the whole show. They decided that the other brother probably is Stanley because of the license plate, and then Fiddleford, and it's about the 3 of them going on adventures together, and that's what a lot of the fandom was believing, so much so that I was, at this point, the audio editor on Mystery Trio Animate.
Oh,
good times.
I don't even know if it's clones anymore. It's more like quadruplets or like triplets.
My brother, and me.
The author of the journals. My brother, and me.
I mean, that is literally your theory.
It's true. Yeah.
So, are we all clear on the theories? Want to get into some cryptograms?
Do you have any theories you wanted to share, David?
I think that this show is going to have an ending, and we're going to get some answers. Also, some characters are going to do some things.
Nope. Actually, this is the end of characters doing things. And that establishes a very different precedent.
I gotta say, the tone really changes moving forward after they stop doing things.
Right. When they switch from animation to stills, I think they do it good. They make it look good with the budget, but it has a different feel to it.
Doesn't feel like the same show.
Turns into Gravity Stands Up, you know.
Yeah, after Gravity fell in this episode, Gravity's just standing the rest
kind of stumbled back up.
Gravity exists.
In the police station audio part 3, when Stan is in his cell and he sees some letters carved into the wall by the previous occupant, it translates through Caesar cipher to Gideon here, which tells you that that's where they had Gideon in custody when he got arrested.
In the cold open, a page on Journal 1 on the topic of floating cliffs has a symbol cipher that decodes to, "My compass goes haywire the closer I get to them. Does this mean what I think it does? The answer may be underground."
Thank you, Weird Al.
That's who voices him. He said.
The license plates on the government vehicles all translate in Caesar cipher to government. That is Guvament.
If you look at the conspiracy board that the agents have up, there's a lot of information dealing with Stan, including his license plate. Next to the license plate is the key symbol that is used to figure out the credits cryptograms. That's the Visionaire key, is hidden in a word we've read 100 times and wouldn't look too closely at.
Yep.
And if you translate the credits cryptogram, and this would be under the image of the two of them swinging on the swing, you see the original mystery twins.
Aww.
Any thoughts on that last image, by the way, Alexa and David?
So they went to Beach Glass House. Is that what it was called?
Glass Shard Beach.
Glass Shard Beach.
They went to Glass Shard Beach High.
Yeah, I think they went there. That's their yearbook, you know.
Yeah.
I think Glass Shard Beach is where they grew up. That was their childhood home. And the glass shards are probably significant somehow. I thought it was like a play on, you know, glass houses and throwing stones and stuff like that. But
those who live on glass beaches
shouldn't play volleyball because then it'll pop.
Yeah. I have a feeling it was destroyed somehow. In fact, I think we saw a glimpse of that house in the Bill Cipher introduction episode.
We saw the swing set. Half of the swing set was destroyed.
So I feel like that is very significant to what's going to happen.
So now you have a theory as to what Stan's hometown is, but you're going to need to give us a state, Alexa. Where do you think Stan is from? We know it's coastal.
Where in the world? He's been to a lot of places. He's been in Colombian prison.
He's been everywhere around the world, but apparently, as we just determined, he grew up somewhere on a coast. So,
Costa Rica?
Ding.
Was Costa Rica mentioned? Yeah, I swear, like, Costa Rica was mentioned.
I said coastal, which is probably why your brain was like, did someone say Costa at some point?
Well, he went to Colombian prison.
So you think he's originally Colombian?
You know what? I didn't, but now I did.
You know who else is Colombian and has a brother that disappeared?
Mirabel's mother and aunt in Encanto are also Colombian, whose brother went missing.
So my theory is that Mirabel is gonna know.
Your theory is that the author is Mirabel.
Yes. Oh, that would have been great. That would have
had a gift all along. Yeah. I have 6 fingers on.
Or it could be that the parents left them in Glass Beach. Oh my goodness, was Glass Shard Beach. I have a feeling that the parents left them at Glass Shard Beach to head over to Colombia or Costa Rica. You know,
there's no Costa Rica.
There's no Costa Rica. It's Colombia. Okay, cool. That might be very significant to what happens to their parents.
We'll find out.
And Alexa, I would adore for you to read the end card combination cipher that you see on the, oh yeah, there's 2 lines. It's a poem. David, Alexa. Yeah.
30 years and now he's back.
The mystery in the Mystery Shack.
Wow. What a doozy of a time.
Yeah, I could just stare out into space for a bit.
It's okay, Charlie. Sometimes relationships don't work out, you know?
What? It's
okay.
the episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm getting pretty hungry to go eat a hat, so
yeah.
Why don't we wrap up?
If you would like to find more episodes of this podcast, because we referenced a bunch of them, Those are all available on our host network, pipedreampodcasts.com, where you can find shows that David and Alexa are in.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell us a little about those?
Well, we've got Come On Fahookwapots, which is a Homestar Runner podcast where twice a week we are watching a Homestar Runner cartoon and talking about it, and Alexa is watching them for the first time and giving us...
That's her whole brand now.
Yeah.
That's all she does is watch things she has never seen and then talk about it before she has time to think about it.
It's the joy of my life, yes.
And I am also on a podcast called How Did This Not Get Made, which is currently on hiatus. We just finished season 3 and we're about to do season 4. But yeah, that's a podcast where we talk about movies and TV shows that were never made, much like Gravity Falls season 3.
Ouch. Insult to injury.
Yeah. No, the reason that people are so obsessed with the idea of a season 3 is that there were a lot of instances in the early promotion where he's like, I'm seeing it as a 3-season show.
Mm-hmm.
And season 3 is season 2B. It's everything you'd want from a season 3. It just does not overstay its welcome. It's perfectly paced in most spots.
As all things should be.
But I guess we'll find out, and Alexa and David can report back when they stop by next. I wonder when that will be.
You guys will return for the 3-part series finale.
We will?
3.
And you're going to be joined by a fella, I think you'll get along with him, but we just really wanted a third guest on those. His name's, I don't know if you've met him, Michael William Hunter.
David, it's the mystery trio. Of course it's
the
Michael.
mystery trio.
Yeah, we're getting the whole mystery trio on.
Hey, Michael and I have not been guests together on this podcast.
I know.
Yet.
Yeah.
Me neither with Michael.
The two of you are finally going to get to meet. I wonder how that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you get along.
You know why? That's because you were separated. Michael was trapped in that other dimension.
That's right, yeah.
So we finally got him back at the end of this one.
Glad he's back.
I'm the pinata. Is what we're
Alexa's
saying.
the pinata.
Of course,
yes.
Obviously.
Also on that website, you can find links to our show's social medias, our Discord server, and our Patreon, patreon.com/Mystery Shack. $3 will get you a shout out at the end of episodes, $5 will get you into viewing parties for the episode, and $40 will get you voice or art commissions from Charley or Ella, respectively.
So if you want to rewatch the pulse-pounding tension of Not What He Seems, stop by our Discord tonight.
Yeah.
We'll be watching it. If you're listening to this on the premiere date of the podcast.
If not, just and the podcast isn't over yet, just pledge and join on any old Wednesday.
And if the podcast is over, just treat yourself to some Gravity Falls tonight.
I think so.
Please check out our brand new store at crowdmade.com/collections/Mystery Shack Lookback for some sweet, sweet podcast merch. You can contact us at mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com. Tell us how long you stared into space after watching Not What He Seems.
Tell us why you thought Weird Al was voicing the brother.
Yeah.
It's because Weird Al always voices brothers, just like Captain Peanut Butter.
It's so cruel to let people love you. All you're doing is promising you'll one day break their hearts.
Yeah, he's really the Captain Peanut Butter of this show, I think.
Stan, what about my spleen?
I twisted my spleen! Thanks to Brian for making the instrumental for our theme song and voicing Stan in the Hall of Conspiracies intro. The Hall of Conspiracies intro is Lentil Dentist. It is a remix of our first episode by Simon the Dimbowl, v2-0.tumblr.com. There is a link in the description.
Adam, thank you for sending our spit into another dimension. In 30 years, it'll probably come back.
Where we won't have to think about it for at least 3 decades.
Before you wrap up, though, I just want to compliment the two of you on how, talking about this episode has really made me think back to previous episodes of this podcast and how well the two of you walk the line of sharing the conspiracies and the theories.
Thank you.
And giving even weight to the ones that turned out to be true and the ones that weren't.
I try very hard to do that when we talk about it, and I don't know if it works.
We've had to redo a bunch of takes where we were too sarcastic about theories that were not true.
It has 100% worked, and I have never, ever said this about a podcast before in my life. I'm really excited to go back and re-listen to all of the episodes all over again, because now I want to do that.
Dear Ella and I lying through our teeth in every single episode. We just recorded 36 episodes. There is not a single one of those where we have not outright lied, feigned a reaction to something, either making it more impressed or more downplayed, or withheld information on purpose.
And I'm just so flattered that you that you think we did that well.
Yeah, like usually podcasts are coming for somebody who loves podcasts and spends like literally hours a day listening to podcasts. I almost never re-listen because that's just not what podcasts are meant to do. They're like legit, like most of the time they're just throwaway things.
No, I got you. Yeah,
this is something that I want to listen to again.
Thank you. Glad. That makes me really happy.
Well, I mean, that's the very first words of our very first episode. Take me back.
Oh my goodness, even the song.
So what you're basically saying is that if it weren't for that YouTube thumbnail, you would have been just as surprised as Alexa.
Absolutely, 100%.
But yeah, exactly what Charlie was saying. Why don't we sing about that wanting to go back to things?
This is my time to just flourish you with compliments, Ella, because
thank you.
I swear every time one of your ukulele covers comes on, me and David look at each other and go,
Aww.
Like, aww. Like,
that's really sweet.
Exactly. It's just like there's something about, I don't know, they tug at the heartstrings a little bit.
Aww, I'm glad. Take me back to the place I know with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started. My heart's in Gravity Falls.
Hey, this is Dipper 4. I'm here with Dipper 3, and we are here to shout out our Patreon supporters. Yeah.
Finally, we get to do something again. We stole a bike and just been out here trying to avoid the rain.
Thank you, too. Daddy Driftwood?
Oh, and it's me. Sorry, I thought...
no, it's okay.
Alternating, got it. And to Daddy Buttons.
Fun Boringness?
Hugh Salinas.
Juno Series?
Friendly Local Geek.
David Gansel?
Liz Clark.
Ryan Faber?
Stephen Patrick Mulholland.
Gwen Prime?
Junior Bruh. Or Jurbra. Junior Bruh.
No, I think you got it. And, Oliver Pluto. Jamie Belts? Petey Piranha Plant? Mumpleteen D. Wumpleteen? Really, Miles? Ro Davis. What are we gonna do with all this money, Dipper 3?
I don't know, Dipper 4.
More umbrellas?
Yeah, lots more umbrellas, tarps.
Maybe like 100 more umbrellas if you could.
All the waterproof, everything waterproof. Rains a lot more than we expected.
Can we laminate ourselves? Was that ever an option?
I think that's a good option if we can find a place.
Help two paper-based guys in the woods just being guys at patreon.com/mysteryshack.